I just got allocated one of the greatest watches and my dream watch from an AD from Rolex. Now, I've been collecting watches for many years now. This is not the first watch from my AD. This is not the first watch I've ever bought, and I'm insanely fortunate to even be able to buy these, but then to be allocated this piece right here. Now, if you're not familiar with this channel, I have a YouTube channel that has over 2 million subscribers that I talk about sneakers, and through that I've been able to make it my job and been able to have some success in that and be able to buy nice things like this, which I'm very fortunate of. And these are inherently, most Rolexes are investments at the end of the day, and I am happy to put my money there. Now, one of the things that I'm planning to do is do a full watch collection, so I'm not gonna be talking about all the watches I have, because I think total from Rolex I've bought 13 watches now, which we'll get into, but this is just my most recent allocation and one that I've been waiting for and everybody's waited for a long time. But I want to take it back before we show you this. It's a big one, but to my first Rolex. Now, I have been collecting Rolexes for a while now, and this is not the only brand that I collect, but this is just probably it is the predominant of my watch collection. And I bought my very first Rolex. I actually made a video about it on my main channel back in 2018, so it's been 7 years now. And this was one that I purchased as I was graduating college. Now, my YouTube channel had been doing well for about 1.5 years, and I was able to go full time, and I thought, what a perfect thing for me to graduate college with in buying myself my first Rolex, and I was very fortunate to be able to do that. Now, if you're not familiar with the watch game, or if you are, back in 2018, the watch game was completely different from what it is now. It was a totally different landscape. You could walk into Rolex stores and malls and you could buy watches. You could buy Daytonas back in the day. Maybe not exactly in 2018, but back in the day, like literally 10 years ago, you could walk into a store and buy a Daytona. Now that is just unimaginable. The whole landscape was different back then, and I actually bought this watch used. I bought it from a used watch dealer in Maryland. That's where my family is originally from, and my family had a guy up there that were like, this is a good guy to go with. And the first Rolex that I ever purchased was a Rolex Air King. This is my first one ever, steel watch, and I love this watch so much. So let me see if I can show you guys this a little bit closer here. As you can tell, it is in pretty solid shape actually still. It was actually polished recently, and I'll get more into that in my watch collection video. But this is a watch that was like, when you buy your first Rolex, it's like a kind of, to me, like a marker of or a milestone in your life of like, I'm gonna buy my first Rolex. And so this was that for me. And I still love this watch to this day, and part of a story with this watch was that actually for my dad's 60th birthday last year, I actually bought him this exact same watch so we could have matching watches in our collection. This was one that I love, and it's always gonna stay in my collection. My first Rolex, it's never leaving. And if you guys are curious, when I bought this watch, I don't know if I still have the receipt in here. I don't think I do. When I first bought this watch, I paid roughly $42.50, I think was the price. $4,250, Rolex Air King, and the date on this one, let me pull up the date card. Again, this was used, it wasn't from a watch dealer, 2017. So that was when this was originally purchased, and I bought it used. Now, they retail now are like, after taxes, like $9,000. So prices have gone up, MSRPs on Rolex has gone up, and that's where it's at. So wanted to give you a little bit of a backstory on my first Rolex ever, and I will, actually I'm not gonna take this one off yet, but just to show that's where it started, and this is where we are today. I got the call for this. I've kind of been asking for this for a while, but again, everybody asked for this for a very long time, and it's just one of those things that I'm just so fortunate. It's probably in the thumbnail, but this is a Rolex Daytona. Now, this is not my first Daytona. I was actually allocated the black Daytona, so it's the black bezel, black dial. It's steel, it has an Oyster Flex band. Great watch, probably up on the screen. I actually really, really love that watch. When I got it, it made me like it more than the Panda for a moment, but I always had my eyes set on the Panda. And so that was my most recent watch allocation from an AD, which is crazy to say. I'm so thankful for my AD and the relationship that we have and being able to purchase this. But this is a new Rolex Daytona Panda. One of the most iconic watches in my opinion. Let me pull this out here. here is the watch itself. I've now had it for a few weeks, just been able to wear it. Now, if you're not familiar, this is the new bezel here. So you're getting like a little bit of a more of a silver edge on the outside. If you look at the pictures from the other watch, which is gonna be the other Daytona that I have, that was the previous reference. And so it was a little more smooth. You didn't have that like silver lining. And I just absolutely love this watch. What is there not to love about this watch? Because you can wear it in every single scenario. You can dress it up and wear it with a suit. You can wear it a little bit more casually with something like this. It's just one of those things that ever since I saw it, I knew I had to have it, but I knew that it was a long journey in order to get to that road. And again, I'm very thankful that I'm in the position to be able to buy watches like this. And at the end of the day, I believe watches like this are just something that are of an investment, of that it's a safe place to put your money. They hold their value. And even though I'm not gonna be selling these watches, it's still something that it's a safe place to put my money. Whereas like when you put money into a car, you're definitely gonna lose money on it. So that's just kind of where my mentality is with it. And this is just so beautiful. Anything of a Daytona is beautiful. And I wanna get into a little bit more of getting this and watches before, and we're gonna talk about that. And I'm gonna do a full watch collection video, a full Rolex collection video, and maybe one day a full watch collection. But after getting my black Daytona, I had been offered a little bit later down the line a gold Daytona, and so I was actually offered a few different Daytonas, a rose gold, a gold, oyster flex, a couple different ones, and I actually turned them down because the ultimate goal is I wanted to get this watch, and I've already purchased a full gold watch from Rolex, which you guys will see eventually, but I just wanted to hold out and get this watch. Even though I know it was a hard road, I knew that it was something that I was willing to wait for. This is not my last Rolex, but this is one of my favorites. To have this and my my Air King together just is beautiful. I love this watch so much. So a few details about the watch if you guys are curious. One, let's talk about pricing of it, because I know a lot of you guys are probably curious. Rolexes are inherently expensive, and again, the first one I bought was $4,250, which in this day and age, you cannot get this watch for that much money. This, again, it's gone up, and so it's been 7 years, and it's gone up. It's probably worth $2 to $3 grand more than I paid for it now. So look at that. It's just one of those things that now. There is exceptions to that rule. When the watch market was at its peak during COVID, when everybody was going crazy, you could have bought a watch and you could have lost a lot of money. But for retail prices, of buying watches at retail prices, to me, is long run a smart move. Let's talk about the cost. I bought this from a Rolex AD, like I said, so I got it for retail price, and the retail price of this Rolex Daytona is going to be $15,100 after taxes. You're gonna be at $16,443. So that is going to be the full total price of these. Now, I'm not gonna really get into resale value of these because I am not buying these watches to resell. I buy these watches for my personal, for my collection. So that is not an aspect that I look at with this because I know that is a thing with this watch, but for me, it is worth way more than that, just in the journey that I got to get here, just to get this watch, and the relationships I made along the way is crazy. And it's weird to say that talking about a watch, but it is genuinely true. It's just one of those things. And I think I want to get more into watches and content on this channel and talk about getting your first Rolex, how you should go about it, getting it from the AD, and creating a relationship with Rolex. Because if you're unfamiliar with the watch game, right now it's very difficult. You can't really just walk into a Rolex store and buy a watch. It's not very possible. And I did not walk into a Rolex store and buy my first watch when I first started collecting, obviously with this one, but even with my first Rolex from a Rolex dealer. That first watch that I got, I had gone in and inquired. I had been brought in by a friend who was shopping there, and he brought me in and said, Harrison would like to buy a Rolex, and they put me on the list. And that's ultimately how these things go. And it's one of those things where you have to kind of continue to follow up. You have to continue to go into the boutique. You have to continue going and talking to them and letting them know your intentions, and not just walking in and saying, I want my first watch to be a Rolex Daytona, because that's just not gonna happen. It is not possible. They will not do it. Unless you just wanna go buy a pre-owned one, you can do that, and some Rolex AD stores sell them. But creating that relationship, letting them know what you want, making it a realistic one, letting them know that you want something like an Air King. An Air King is a really good first watch to try to get from a Rolex dealer, because it's not one of those ones that everyone's walking there trying to get, and it's a really good starter watch just to start your collection. That's kind of my thoughts, and again, I'm gonna go into probably that in another video, but it's just relationships. I went in, got my name on the list, and it took a bit of time. It took a couple months for me to get that first call. And then when I did, I just made sure to let them know that I'm a collector, I'm here to keep my watches, and I want to continue to collect and buy watches with you and you exclusively. That's just kind of how it is, where no other relationships with other ADs, focusing on this one and kind of finding the right journey that it takes to get to where I want and in this watch world. So it's a really cool thing, and it happens in a lot of different avenues with Porsche, getting GT3 RSs. It's like you can't walk in and just buy one for retail price. You have to buy other things. You have to buy other with watches, you have to buy other watches in order to get to an ultimate goal. And so that's just kind of how the game is and how it's been ever since the watch market's gone back up. With getting this new watch, one of the details I wanted to show you and share with you guys was they make, if you're familiar with cars, you know they make clear PPF on them, so it's like clear protection film. They actually make those for watches as well, which is interesting. So they sell these kits, it's like 140 bucks, and essentially they send you a kit to clear film the entire watch. Like it might be hard to see, but there's a piece of clear film here for every single little detail of the watch. Now, I don't do all that because that's way too much. I don't care because I like watches that have character and like have those scratches because it's showing that you wear them. The only place that I put it on my watch is gonna be this back end here. Now I didn't do an exactly perfect job on it. It is a little bit imperfect, but this section right here primarily is one that I focus on when putting a clear protection on because it is the most prone to scratches. I'll put this one on. I haven't actually put it on the video. Dude, these things look so slick on the wrist, just like the way they look. I love a thin watch, a small watch. With other watches that I collect, with Audemars Piguet, I collect smaller sizes of those. So I have a 39 millimeter, and that looks so perfect. These are 40 millimeter, but this one just looks so good. But with this, this part of the watch is the most prone to scratches, and my last Daytona, I didn't put one on, and there's a lot of scratches there, more than just like some little scratches, and it just bothered me to where the clear film looks so good that you can't even tell. I'd rather just kind of keep it protected on those prone areas than anything else, because right here, I'm pretty good about it. I don't scratch there, but it's sometimes hard to avoid the scratches down on this side. The day after I bought it, I woke up and went into my room where I had display my current watches that I'm wearing, and I just kind of stared at it. I took like an hour to sit there and PPF the bottom and get it perfectly clean and all that, but it's got some scratches already because I've had it for a few weeks, but I've been wearing this every day, and it's just kind of hard to get it off my wrist because it's my watch. It's the one. And obviously I'm going to continue to collect and probably be a little bit more continue to be more specific on watches to add to my collection. I think my wife might be due for one next. I have already previously bought her one. I don't know if I'm gonna put that in a collection video because she keeps all her jewelry separate from mine, and I don't know if she wants that to be on there, but I did get her, it's a Lady Datejust two-tone with a green olive face and diamonds in the bezel. It's a really nice watch. I got that right when I got my root beer, full gold root beer. That was we got those around the same time, and pretty cool. But she hasn't got a watch vintage because she loves having her one watch. She also loves vintage watches, like vintage Gucci watches and stuff like that. But she kind of wants to get a fresh, maybe, she likes a 28 millimeter for a Rolex. And if you guys are wondering why I'm not wearing a ring, my rings were shipped off, and they're literally getting delivered today, my new rings. So I tried to get them here before this video, but FedEx did not want to deliver them. So they're probably gonna be delivered at my house right now. But thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this content and want to see more watch content, let me know in the comments down below. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.